Welcome back to They Did What? Your source of the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, becoming part 29, the longest story running here on They Did What, which is titled, While Wife Thought Her Affair Was Going Unnoticed, Husband Was Playing the Long Game Preparing for War. And guys, here we are coming close to part 30, but we're focusing on part 29. And for today's update in our guy's life, things are definitely getting interesting again with his ex-wife, Emily. It seems that the drama and turmoil that she brought to his life is now, it just can't stop. And you'll see as I get into this. And where we left off the last time, I believe our guy, it was like 6 weeks ago, a little longer than normal, he was definitely back into dating. And he was talking about all the different gals he was going out with. And it pretty much backed up what we all know about today's dating environment. He had one that he was kind of promising. She was a nurse, and just wanted to keep it friends with benefits. That was the most promising thing of the whole mess. Well, here we are with the update, and you're going to see what's going on with his ex, the drama she's bringing into his life, as well as some information about Shrea, the Indian babe that he was seeing. So I know a lot of you guys are wondering what this guy's been up to. So he says here, I've been out of commission for a bit recently, mainly because I've been so busy. First of all, I've been busy at work with a big version release. I've also been volunteering my time at a local pet shelter and also an organization that builds ramps and decks for disabled people, usually veterans. It's a good way to avoid doom scrolling. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear he's doing that volunteer work. And animal lover like me, that's great. And doing things for veterans. He says, oh yeah, did I mention that I owe the IRS roughly $10,000? Here we go. How do you ask? Because I'm a moron. But let's hit the way back time machine to 2023. My wife is mismanaging her business taxes. This is what I was talking about. His wife's drama is still impacting him even though they're divorced. In 2024, my wife is having an affair and mismanaging her business taxes. Even though Emily's hair and makeup business is and was an LLC, we filed our taxes jointly. We always filed jointly. We always filed our taxes in late January, early February, and we filed our 2024 taxes, the last taxes I filed jointly with Emily, in early 2025. It was a week or two before I abandoned Emily and slapped her in the chest with divorce papers. I didn't want to clue her in by telling her I wanted to file separately, and we always just filed jointly. Man, he's like, if I only went back in time and filed separately with her. Well, the IRS and their crack team of jaunty go-getters took a year to send me 2 love notes that basically said that we underreported income from 2023 and 2024. No, Emily underreported through her business. That's what was going on. My CPA says I can anticipate a couple of love notes from my state revenue office as well. We have state income tax. And oh yeah, I decided to bite the bullet and use a CPA from now on. Good to hear. In other words, prior to this, they weren't using not using a tax preparer every year. Smack! And he deserves that. Guys, it never ceases to amaze me the amount of money people spend on just crap. And yet they can't spare $200 to hire a professional at tax season, or obviously a little more if you own a business. Guys, it's worth the money. Get a pro, because if something gets messed up, okay, typically they will fix the problem for you, no additional charge. And they can also obviously help you in areas that are saying, oh, that's not a good idea, or these are the new laws, and stuff like that. But obviously he's got a CPA now. Well, long story short, we owe the IRS a little under $10,000. I am rounding up. I have our tax records in the house that Emily and I shared. She did not take them with her because she gets nostalgic for tax records, ? It was pretty much all Emily's underreported income from her business for whatever reason. It's probably something that John taught Emily when he was business mentoring the shit out of her hoo-ha. So, in other words, this is all coming from what she did with her business. And the $10,000 is the tax on the full amount of what she underreported, probably because they found out that she's probably getting paid in cash. But dumb enough to put in her bank account, and they probably connected the dots and stuff like that. And oh yeah, this figure also includes interest and penalties and all that. And now he's looking bad. They may say, hey, we're going to go back and look at all your returns going back 5 to 10 years. There's a thing called the innocent spouse form or something you can do, because this guy had no idea what was going on. But they're like, hey, you were married, you signed on the thing, pay. Since we filed jointly, even though Emily's business was an LLC, we both are on the hook for the money, and they don't give a crap about our past relationship troubles. And they'll hang us up by our ankles to start shaking out $10,000 out of our pockets. They don't care whose pockets the 10 grand comes from, as long as they get it. A lot of truth to that. My lawyer is contacting Emily's lawyer about indemnifying me of that $10,000, since she seems to be taking accountability for what she's done. Well, that's good, but this guy still has to pay his lawyer to reach out to her lawyer and deal with all that. She should be paying for every nickel that he has to spend dealing with this fiasco that was her problem. Meanwhile, I'm applying for the innocent spouse relief, which is a form where I whine to the IRS about what a moron I am for trusting that my wife filed our taxes correctly. It's Form 8857 for all you Cape Crusaders who think I'm full of crap. Don't get me wrong, I can pay it, but it will make a dent on my investment funds, because I'd have to sell off some, and if I'm on the hook for the full amount. Dude, you should not have to pay a freaking nickel. But there should, and is what it is. But I'm sure the lawyer will work something out. There you go, guys. Make sure if you're married and you're filing jointly, most of you, make sure you pay attention to what's going on with what your wife's bringing to the table, putting in the documents, that type of thing. Now on to some more amusing stuff. He says, the news about Shrea. Aha. The news about Shrea is that Shrea has blocked me. Uh-oh, that's a change. Her fiance looked at her phone and saw her messages to me. There wasn't anything explicit, but my contact had a picture of me, and he pretty much lost his shit, which if the roles were reversed, I probably would too, because I'm insecure and controlling. Shrea sent me a final message with an apology and an explanation and blocked me. Well, there you go. Truth be told, I can't blame her fiance. She went back home for the arranged marriage thing because her fun in America was over, and this guy sees that she's talking to other dudes and has pictures of the other guy. I wouldn't tolerate that, except I wouldn't be getting together with her. But something tells me we'll be hearing from her probably in time, but she has to move on. This guy's got to move on. On the dating front, the trauma OR nurse had a free weekend, which apparently happens about as often as a Democrat French kisses a Republican, and she got her mother and mother-in-law to watch her kids and a respite caregiver for her son with autism. She rented a B&B for the weekend on the coast. She paid for it. She said in return for going with her, I need to be in charge of where we go and what we do, and we go half and half on meals and incidentals. Okay, sounds good. This is the one he was talking about in the last video, who looks like she wants to just do friends with benefits. I caution this guy big time, being that she's a nurse and single MOM of multiple kids, and there's things with her ex-husband. Definitely wear protection. Well, she slept with me, and I love to brag and say it was a weekend of wild monkey love, but when I say she slept with me, I meant she slept unconscious, dreaming in the same vicinity as me. She slept on the drive there, she slept while we were there, she slept on the drive back. She basically vetoed my plans, which admittedly were pretty ambitious. I wasn't really enthusiastic about them. So she's sleeping the whole time and changing all his plans. She sounds like a great, fun person to be with. We ended up hanging out on the beach and by the pool. I read a lot while she took a nap. We chatted some during the times that she was awake. We ended up getting frisky Saturday night, but she fell unconscious right afterwards, which, you know, as the man in the relationship, is my job. Well, at least he got some. I feel flattered that she chose me for her free weekend that happens only rarely. I don't see this relationship going anywhere, and neither does she. Well, good. Keep it that way. You do not want to get involved in this situation. She pretty much told me that she's holding out hope that her ex will finally be able to kick the opioid habit and go back to being a doctor and get involved in his kids' lives. I think her fantasy is that he'll have some kind of epiphany and get clean and get remarried to her and be a father of his kids. Hope it works out for her. I don't know what's worse, infidelity or being in love with a junkie. One is poisoned by pessimism and the other is poisoned by hope. Dude, I know I was seeing these distractions. He's moving on. Sorry for the coughing, guys. I'm getting over a cold here. But this girl does not seem worth the time. I've had more dates. There are a lot of attractive and intelligent women out there, and I went on dates with them. I just didn't vibe with any of them. Shocker. I'm unsure of how it all works. Do I need to go on a second or third date? I have blonde hair, which apparently is not as attractive as dark hair. One disappointed woman said that I didn't look very blonde in my pictures. I'm hyper aware of anything that even approaches a red flag. I have trust issues, so I have a lot to overcome. So in other words, his dating situation is no better than it was 6 weeks ago, and he reported the last time. Again, and this is a guy who, given we've been covering his story, seems cool as hell, funny as hell. I'm sure he's a decent enough looking guy. Still, same crap. Bev's husband is doing well. Bev is the, former best friend of his wife, who's a big giant cheater too. I've been working out with him a couple times a week. He's coming in on my guest pass because my gym is pretty bougie. I'm only there because of the pool. He's down 25 pounds, but is doing okay psychologically. The custody evaluation came back 50-50, which is what he was hoping for. Bev snapped from being apologetic and begging to a savage viper mode fairly quickly and is coming after him for major alimony, but that's what the lawyers are for. Of course she's doing that. She's a big giant cheater, and now she's trying to come after him for everything because he's the villain. Of course. John and Lisa had their pre-trial conference. Remember, John is the guy that was banging his wife Emily for all that time. Lisa is now his soon-to-be ex-wife. Which is where the judge sits everybody down and basically tells them that any trial is going to be expensive and someone is going to lose badly, and they are absolutely sure they don't want to settle. The judge ordered him to pay an additional money for his kids' therapy. Lisa, meanwhile, has been out of the workforce for 16 years. She got a job as an office manager/assistant for a dental practice and is working on a real estate license. The court date is June 15th. John is going to get absolutely destroyed, and everybody knows it but him. Hey, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. This guy deserves everything that happens to him. Well, the meeting with Emily is looming over my head. I think I kind of have to go now because of the whole tax thing. Remember when they were getting divorced, there was some agreement that they'd meet in a year, and basically he'll get a bunch of money if he agrees to meet with her, or he gets a bunch of money if she broke the no contact thing. Well, now he's got to fucking deal with her because of this tax thing. I mean, and by the way, it's interesting, but this tax thing, going back to that, it doesn't sound like she's made an honest mistake. It sounds like, if they own $10,000 off of what was underreported, then I would say it was a decent-sized chunk of change, and it doesn't sound like it was an accident. Who knows what's going to happen to her, but still. And he has got to fucking deal with this. My therapist and I are working together to form a strategy to get as much as I can out of this meeting. May 30th is on a Saturday. She's supposed to send the mediator's info to me, and I'll coordinate with them. I'm shooting for a weekend after May 30th, a weekday after May 30th, so I'll be the first week of June, which ironically is very close to our wedding anniversary. Thank you, Jesus. Beans the cat is now batting her paws at cabinet doors and bouncing them open. She's also decided that my feet are actually furry rodents and is hunting and stalking them. She's doing great. I need new cabinets. This guy cracks me up. Well, anyhow, guys, there you go. That's his update there. Yeah, the tax thing. He thought he was free and clear, and because it usually takes, depending on things, 6 months, a year longer for the government to catch up on things, but they will. And here you go. But hopefully it's resolved fairly quickly. Now, a few comments here before I get out of the story here. And he responds. One guy says, "Good to hear from you. As soon as I got the part about the IRS situation, the first thought that came to my mind before I even finished this section was that you need to have your attorney get in touch with Emily's and work on resolving the issue. Not a snowball chance in hell would I agree to pay a penny of that obligation, since Emily was knowingly underreporting her business income. This is entirely on her. I know the feds see this as joint responsibility, but the lawyers may not. Chalk it up yet another thing that she lied to you about." Yes. He also says, another thought occurred to me. $10,000 is a pretty hefty tax liability, since it resulted from Emily underreporting her business income. Could it be she was not entirely truthful with you about how much business was earning? Could she have been hiding money from you? Good question. He says it's not just underreported income. There's also penalties and interest. My CPA talked about cash exchanges, paying under the table, and other stuff, but my eyes just glazed over as I heard I was going to be on the hook and screwed by a giant unlubed rubber dildo courtesy of Uncle Sam. Another guy says, "Oh boy." Is there anything else your ex can do right except doing makeup, hair, and spreading her legs to sugar daddies? I still hope you find you won't go to that meeting, but the decision is on you, and I will support no matter what you do. He says, F fat-ass Bev and creep-ass John. Can't wait for their downfall. Good luck to OP. I wish you the best. P.S. Didn't Bev's soon-to-be ex mention if your ex was helping him? And our guy says, yes, she told him that she'd offer any info on the evidence she has from texts and emails. I don't know if he or his lawyer is taking her up on her offer. I avoid talking to him about that shit. I want the gym to be a place where he can get away from all that shit. That's what it is to me. And last one, this guy says, nurses don't exactly have the best reputation in terms of infidelity. Buyer beware. Yes, exactly. And our guy says, we're not getting married anytime soon. And he's being sarcastic. I don't think I want to be an instant daddy of 3 kids when there's a scalpel-happy drug addict ex-doctor holding a torch for my wife and stepkids. She's fun, has a great personality, and is very nice. She also looks good in a bikini, which definitely doesn't hurt. I'm not really interested in an ongoing casual thing. Spending a weekend at the beach is a nice rental with a pool, and sipping cocktails sounded like a good idea at the time. Yeah, maybe that's what he needed, but great personality. Sounds like she's always asleep. So how the hell does he know what's going on? And she wanted to make all these plans, and she changed them all. But he said he got laid, so okay, that's pretty much the whole point of his weekend away. But I think it's time to cut ties with her. But anyhow, guys, there you go. That's what's going on in our hero's life. You know, I've been covering this, about a year and a half now. But it's funny to me. I'll keep doing this because the guy's cool. And so many of you guys are invested in this. You always want to know what he's up to. So there you go. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you like the video, share it with your friends and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.